good afternoon to you, our lovely viewers. How have you been? I know the seasons are changing. We have some rains these days. So I believe those who are doing farming are really, taking the season so serious. Welcome to this episode. I'm called Madreen, and we are really happy to have you watch us wherever you're watching us from. So allow me welcome Miss Nancy. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Madreen.
Yes,
Good
how
afternoon.
are you? Good afternoon.
Yeah, fine, thank you.
You look lovely.
Thank you.
I love the hair.
Thank you.
It looks really beautiful on you.
Thank
yes,
you.
so Mrs. Obita is she's a journalist. She's a senior editor with over 18 years of experience. Yes, and she's married, and she works with the Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation. Yes, so we are really so honored to have her today, and I'll give her the floor to say hello to our viewers and of course introduce herself to you.
Good afternoon, our viewers. My name is Nancy Anek Obita. I am a journalist by profession, and currently I'm working with Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation in Entebbe as a senior editor.
Wow. And over 18 years of experience. Wow, there's a lot to learn from, the experience from Nancy. So Nancy, before we go into what you are now, we want to know about the Nancy before you transition to what we are seeing today.
Wow. The Nancy before, I think the 18 years has been a beautiful walk. It's a journey of something that I've always loved to do. I think for me, it's from the word go. Whenever someone would ask me, what would you want to be? I'm like, I want to be a journalist.
Wow.
And
right from childhood, you knew what you wanted to be.
I knew what I wanted. But then I think along the way, there were lots of maybe certain talents, acting and all that, which of course I did in school. But professionally, it is the journalism that I did. And in 2000 is when I joined UMCAT, School of Journalism. And then I got a diploma in journalism and mass communication. Then after that, I did my bachelor's in social sciences from Makerere University.
Oh.
But then later on, I did a master's in public health leadership.
Okay.
So I think I have a mix of,
I know.
and people ask me why.
Social sciences, and then public health.
But you see, the beauty is my social science was, one of my subjects was sociology. And I really wanted to understand the behavior of human beings.
Of people.
And I think that has really supported my journalism, career. Because I tend to understand people and maybe why they behave the way they behave. So it has made it easy for me to deal with people of different walks of life.
So you're telling us that also journalism, you should have, some aspect of knowing the traits of people, how they behave.
Yes, it's actually very important that you should know how people behave. I remember one of my lecturers said that as a journalist, if you're going to interview people in Owino, you must be like them. If you are going to interview a minister, you must dress and appear like them.
Right.
So you need to do everything according to the environment, to the people you're going to meet. Because you can't go to a winner dressed in a suit, you can't get any good story. Okay. So you have to be like them. So that's why you need to understand why particular societies behave in a particular way.
Yeah, I get it now.
Thank you.
Yes, and tell us more about your career and work.
Yes, I was privileged that I was actually picked from school. Maybe because of my performance, but I want to also believe that really God has been with me all through. So as a young lady in class, I remember a friend who was already practicing journalism telling me that, Nancy, Northern Uganda does not have many female journalists. So far we are only 2. So she was like, if you can go to the north, I know you'll make headlines. But it was kind of tricky for me because I did not grow up there. I was actually raised in my childhood. I was in Entebbe and really the central region. So when she told me that, I was like, oh my God, okay, now I need to tell my parents. But remember, there was insurgency. And yet, that's the kind of news she wanted me to go cover so that I would make headlines. And I thank God, for some reason, he took one of my brothers to work in Kitgum, where I come from.
Okay.
And so I joined him. And before I knew, I started writing articles, working with the district information officer. He gave me space. And as a free young girl, I connected very fast with the district officials, with the RDC at the time. May his soul rest in peace. He also said, in case of anything, I'll let you know. But if I tell you, don't go to this place, Nancy, do not go. So I started writing my articles. Today you hear there is a landmine, tomorrow you hear there is this that has happened. So I had a variety of news to cover. And before I knew, there was a notice in New Vision. They actually called me, Mrs. Obita, wherever you are, please report to our nearest bureau. Obita is actually my dad's name.
Oh.
So, but it's the name most journalists know. They know me by the
Okay.
names Nancy Obita. So I reported to the Lira-based vision office at the time. And so when I went, I found also an editor who was about maybe 28. I talked to him and then I said, oh, I'm Nancy. And then, well, you mean you're this small? But I'm like, yeah, it's me. They thought maybe some big, you know.
big lady.
Yeah, so then later on, New Vision sent me trainers. We were about 4 who were trained, and I was chosen at the time as a casual sub-editor, but also I was supposed to do coverage. So I continued to report for Rupin newspaper and the New Vision. Then after some time, I went back to school.
Okay.
So for some reason, again, I applied. And they were like, okay, you can come in. But the terms were almost the same. Then I worked for some time, then crossed to an NGO, Canadian Physician for Aid and Relief. Their head office is in Kansanga. I was their information assistant. But I think the journalist in me could not make me work for the media, for an NGO for so long. So I was there for about 2 years. Then I crossed back.
You crossed back to
And
journalism.
so, yeah. And so when New Vision again advertised that they needed an editor for Rupin, I was like, yeah, this should be my job. And I applied and I got the job, and that was 2008. I had a very little baby, but I was like, I have to go for this.
You have to go for this.
So I worked there until 2012. Then I moved to the head office. Then from the head office, I worked. Then I quit on 30th December 2013 and ventured into business, into politics, and then family.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why did you quit?
I think at the time I had so many conflicting priorities. The pressure was much. My husband was not in the country. I had a young family. I was doing my master's. Then I needed to have at least a business set. So I was like, for me to finish my master's and have this business run, and then also have time for my children, let me give it some, but I also knew that I already had interest in politics. Though to many, it seemed a little bit premature.
Okay.
Because they felt like, okay, 20, because my target was 2014, January, I had to. And which, of course, I did. And yeah, after so many years of doing so many other things, I also shortly worked for UNICEF in Khartoum. Then I came back again to the country. And after about 2 years, someone, a former supervisor of mine, called me, Nancy, can you please send your CV? There is need for a temporary editor, just part-time, please. And I sent in, and that's how I joined UPPC.
Okay.
Yes.
Ah.
I joined actually as an assistant editor, and so I grew
To a senior editor.
a senior editor.
Wow.
Yeah.
How is it like in the life of a journalist, day-to-day life of a journalist?
The life is busy, but I think the most important thing is you seem to have some knowledge about everything. Nothing takes you so much by surprise. It's an interesting life. I think I can compare to a teacher, because you see teachers, there is a way they are known. You may not be the most highly paid journalist, but at least your works will sell you. I don't know what happens these days to journalists, but during our days, it was hard for one to apply to be a journalist. Like for a position like I want to be a reporter, you would just submit your articles and your articles would sell you. So, and that's why you see, I never applied to New Vision at the time, but they located me through my writing.
Yes.
So today I see someone has finished mass comm and they're on the streets. You can't be on the street. You need to create content and submit, and your work for sure will locate you.
So how does, you're talking of content, how does one create content, and what makes a story good, you know, to sell?
I think what makes a story good differs. One, depending on your audience. What audience are you serving? So you need to feed them with the information that they need. Meaning you have to answer all the 5 H and W, and then ensure that don't go for stale news. Give something that is relevant. For me, that's how I look at it. Something that can at least inform a person, something that can make their life better, something that at least they can learn something new from it. So don't just rush for everything, because at the end of it, I have my articles were not published. But ask yourself why. First of all, every media house has a particular target audience. So you can't write offside. Just like I will say, if you look at the New Vision where I worked, it's more of community, developmental stories, and things like that. Politics may come in, but it's not so loud. It's not one of why. New Vision looks at that grassroots person and how can you lift them from there and bring them up, you know, to just empower them. So I think a good story, you just need to be sharp and pitch it right, make it relevant to the consumer, who is the audience. Yes. So if you can't understand your audience, you can't give them the right article.
It takes us back to sociology, understanding people.
Exactly.
Yes. And you mentioned something, the 5HW. What is that?
What are you giving us? That's one.
Okay.
And then also, why are you giving it to us? And then, whom are you giving it to? And then, why are you giving it? And then H is how, meaning the packaging. How will you package? Or how will it change someone's life? So that's just the definitions. Yeah.
And you see, these days, I see many young people, you know, want to, you know, journalism. What is so special about it?
I think it's a prestigious course. Honestly, it sounds good if someone says, yes, my person is a journalist. It's prestigious, as much as they may not pay them so well, but it is one of those professions that makes you stand out, especially if you can match the competition in there. Your quality of content speaks for itself. That's why you see some people are known by what they write, not even physically. And then before you know, people are following them, people are interested in whatever they write about. Authenticity
Very important.
And the problem these days, you want to go to Google, you Google someone's work, you add on to yours. It's not your original thought. So you need to do something that's original, so that you don't get into issues of plagiarism. Yeah.
And then you mentioned, in your days, people would only look for you, locate you, which is not the case these days. Where do you think is the gap?
I think a lot has changed. I don't know whether it has a lot to do with the advancement in technology. The change in the way we do things, and people are saying that the world is now a global village. So I think also we tend to I think a lot has been relaxed on the way we handle right from home, how people raise their children. So you find that even when such kids start work, they'll not be so aggressive. Because, I mean, they have grown up having everything. So maybe they don't think outside the box so much. But our days, you had to work hard. Imagine your mother possibly had 15 children. And you had to work hard to survive, and then to become a successful person. Today you're 3, you're 4, mommy, daddy both work. They provide everything. So someone really relaxes. And also, I think also the media fraternity has really grown so much. So at times, maybe the media houses are also trying to really look for who is that best person I can get out there.
Yeah.
So that's where they have to advertise. But during our days, your work.
Your work.
Because I've known people who have grown from senior 4 dropouts and have become maybe senior editors. They are big people.
Wow.
Why? Because they have worked for it and they understood this profession that they have chosen. But you see also sometimes these days people just do things out of excitement. I think I like, today you like this, tomorrow you like the other thing. So you're not focused. So you just have to focus and do the right thing. Yeah.
And as a journalist, where do you think we should focus on? We have mainstream media and then online.
Oh my God. Depending on your audiences.
Okay.
But the fact that we cannot run away from is the advancement in technology. So many years ago, we used to discuss this in the newsroom, and now it has become a reality.
Yeah.
Where you cannot keep a story, hold it for that special headline, because you're not sure the next minute someone is flashing it all over WhatsApp. So I think it's understanding your audience and doing things within the shortest time possible, so that you're effective in everything that you do, really. Because the world has become so busy, so fast. So much has changed. Yet during our days, you had to first take your picture, go develop it somewhere in a studio, come back to the newsroom, you begin to scan. You get it?
Yeah.
So a lot has changed. I just take a picture on my phone and then forward, and that is it. It can be used as long as you have a good quality phone.
Yeah.
So yeah, so much has changed, and really you cannot blame them because it's the era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should embrace it.
You embrace it, even if you're an old person in the newsroom now. You must embrace the technological advancement.
True.
Yeah.
True. And then you mentioned that one of the things that took you to journalism is a friend of yours told you you're only 2 women, ladies in your region.
True.
Yes. How is it? How is the feeling? And share your experience being a woman in journalism. Some of the challenges or the opportunities as a woman.
One, during my time as a young person, the opportunity as a woman was really, really, really great. Everywhere you turn to, I think someone is ready and say, you're a journalist, a female journalist.
A female journalist.
But of course, there is always this question that will follow shortly. But will you get married? Yes, it's a question.
Why? Because is it because
I don't know why. Those days people believed that first of all, as a journalist, you do not settle in one place. You're always on the move.
Yes.
So they felt like the character of a journalist, the nature of the job is not for a woman groomed to manage a home, because they believe a woman should be within the confines of a home.
Yes.
But I thank God I married quite early. By 25, I was in a serious
Whoa.
relationship,
Oh.
and so up to now
Yeah,
I'm with the
that
same
was-
man. So we thank the Lord for that.
That was quite early.
Yeah, that was quite early. But also, it should be clear that there are things that should not dictate certain things. One thing I know that being a woman should not really make you less of a person.
Yeah.
You also have potential. You can also do something great because each one of us has a special gift and a special talent. So for me, those are some of the things. And so it wasn't so easy to break through.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you, even when I bounced back as editor, I remember at the time, Kabushenga was actually the CEO. Slim as I was. And then I walked to be introduced. Then he laughed actually. And then he told the HR, like, what has happened? How do you bring such a young girl to go and head for me the team? And they were only men. So when I arrived in northern Uganda, I was actually the youngest in the team, and I was the woman.
Wow.
But trust me, it's not so easy. Even when you have to do things the right way, someone still wants to prove to you that, you know what, you are a woman.
A woman.
And then I would remember there are moments where a guest has come and they're like, please go and meet the editor. And I remember the person is a very prominent person in the country right now. I will not say his name. But this person walks into my office and finds me seated. And then he peeps, finds a young lady. So he walked back to the
walks
reception and says, no, I've just found some young girl. So everyone around the reception actually laughed and then said, but that's the editor.
That's the editor.
I said, no. How do you allow such a young girl to rule over all of you? So they just laughed. But I think at the end of it, they had to accept. But also the experience that I have had, not maybe me, but of course the young girls, some that I tried to groom, I think most of them also get entangled in relationships. You've gone to interview this source that wants to manipulate you. Before you know, someone is falling out of the career because the pressure is too much. You're speaking to this, tomorrow they're changing everything into a relationship. So unless you are firm, unless you know what you want, and if you're not brave enough as a young journalist and a female, it is hard for you. You will give up. And I think that's why you see sometimes most of them will want to go, oh, PR or what. But I think the work environment generally in the African culture, it's how they perceive women. So you need to fight for your space. And just focus on what you do. At the end of it, what you do by will speak for you. They'll know that this one you cannot compromise based on A, B, C, D. So for me, that is it. And it's one thing that I kept telling these girls, you need to be this. And I've seen also many, after maybe getting married, that marks the end of the career. And then you see someone is so talented, who is so gifted, is now grounded at home because maybe they can no longer move freely. You have a child at home and you have to take care of the family. So if you're not firm enough, you can't.
And that will take me to, how are you able, to juggle through all this? The responsibilities, how have you been able, with your experience, 18 years?
Wow.
Yes, managing family and work.
I don't want to say that I have been perfect, but I also know that it has been a lot of pressure. Maybe that also explains why for about 7 years I thought I should first give it a break. Because maybe if I had my husband in the country at the time, maybe it would make a bit of difference. But still, I want to be honest, it has been tough. Balancing work, balancing family. school and all that, and business. It has been hard, but you just need to, one, love what you do, then schedule yourself so that you're not in a mix and then you begin to fail. So for me, it has helped me a lot because I know at a particular time, I remember when my children were in primary, I would make it a point, when now I was at the head office, I would make it a point to always be the one to drop them in school. So that way then we chat. And I also gave them a lot of time during the weekends at least, and public holidays. Sometimes they would say, hey, we want to go with you maybe to office. So just a few hours they come, they see, okay, she's busy, they then leave you alone. But it's just about how you plan your life, how you love what you love, and then prioritize it accordingly. Then I think that took me to do a lot of work, even in the night. Sometimes you have to push more hours to ensure that you actually finish what you have on your plate. But motherhood, things like that, it's a given for sure. You cannot trust another person to raise your children for you. Even if you have 5 maids in the house, you have to be there and make sure that you know exactly what they do and how they do it for the children. But I thank God we have reached where we are and they have grown now. So I have more space.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And what is that, one story in particular that, you say for the time that you've been a journalist? What is that story that you think, you wrote or you did and it was really exceptional?
I have quite a bit, but there is one that every time I think about it, I actually laugh. That was during that peak season of the nodding disease syndrome. So people would always send me articles, but I would ask them, what happens? Like, why do they behave like this? But even with all the narratives that I was given in the articles, I still felt like, I think I need to drive to the field. I used to love to move to the field by myself. So on this day, I picked 2 journalists. I'm like, okay, let's drive. I'll be your driver. You'll do the writing, so and so. You'll take the pictures. They're like, ew. So we hit the road to Kitgum in a place called Okidi. Now, it was during that time, you remember when they brought the patients in a bus, and it caused a lot of headlines. But as these people were coming, I was also arriving in Kitgum. So we go to this health center. But I was always told that these people kind of manifest as if they are demon possessed or things like that. But I'm like, but I've not experienced this. Then someone told me that no. And they don't like prayers. And then one of my reporters said, but madam, today you did not pray. I said, no, I prayed, but I prayed in the car. Because I couldn't get out before praying. So I'm like, okay, since we have formed this group of people, let me pray for them. So when I just started praying for these people, oh my God, the manifestation, people started falling, this started. And I was like, oh, so this is real. So as the cameraman was standing there, I remember I had grabbed the camera and I paused the prayers. I grabbed the camera and just gave these shots. Before I knew, I had a lead picture in the New Vision front page. So to date, when I think, I'm like, imagine I had to pause prayers to get a good picture. So then I realized that, journalism. And by the way, journalism, I think there are things that are really inborn. You can really train some people. Some people are slow to learn. But there are things that God has ordained for people to do. For me, even to date that I'm not writing or not an active journalist, I still watch this and what do I see? For me, I see news. For me, I see content out of this. So I'm always very cautious. That's why I like to take people's pictures and make sure the moment is really captured.
Wow.
So it's something that it just makes me happy every time I think about it. Yeah, so, but of course there are many things. Another is, I remember one time I had a headline. It was involving corn, when corn was in Garamba. Oh my God. I was asked questions, and I thought the next minute is maybe for me to be arrested. And you can't believe, by midday of Wednesday, all the papers were sold out because of a headline, which was true. But then later on, they now called me, the army called me for advice. And then they advised me the risk that I took. It could cause insecurity. Yeah, so I learned my lessons.
Yeah.
But for me, I was happy because I sold so many copies and even had to do a reprint.
Of course.
So, yeah, there are those nice moments, really. Yeah, I have several of them, but there are those beautiful moments you're like, yes, here, I had to be on my feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful. And currently, you're the senior editor at Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation. Yes, tell us about this. Someone who doesn't know what happens here and what you do.
Wow. First of all, to my viewers, Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation is a government publishing house. It's the government printer. That's how it was called. And it is the only one that is mandated to publish legal documents and all the laws of this country. So the constitution, the laws that you see is actually printed. They're all produced in UPPC. So UPPC has been in existence for over 120 years.
Yeah.
We are that old.
Wow. Wow.
And so it is right now a lot of things are happening, a lot of developments, technological advancement. We have a bigger team now. Generally, everything in UPPC is undergoing a renewal, a revamping. Previously, of course, there was the Uganda Printers Training School, and that is being revamped. Very soon we are going to have a museum launched. But in my time as an editor, you know, UPPC was focused only on the legal documentation, printing and publishing. But we have introduced the publishing department. And under the publishing department, I am very happy to be part of the team that birthed what we now call the Printers Magazine, that is produced and printed by by Uganda Printing. It is our product. So the content is quite unique. It carries content about printing, the technology, the people in the business, the suppliers of the materials that are used in printing, different kinds of printing. So we normally publish that once. We started it as a souvenir magazine when we were celebrating 120 years of UPPC. And under the publishing department, we have also introduced the Gov Info Hub. It's a one-stop center hub where you find all authentic information about government. You don't have to run from one website to the other. And we just launched it during our stakeholders engagement in July. Another beautiful one is we do magazines. That is also, we have NEMA magazine that we actually work together with NEMA to produce World Environment Day magazine every year, and many other magazines. We produce books, from education books to story books to novels to poems. All that is published at Uganda Printing and Publishing. So you can see that when we talk editing, there is quite a bit too. Yeah, but also the plan is to diversify and ensure we have as many products as possible to expand on our revenue base. not to only depend on the printing works from government or a few individuals.
Okay.
So we print for not only government now, but we also do other commercial printing, which has actually really grown. And yes, the mainstream media printing may be going down, but I want to believe real printing may never go down. It can only change because of the development in technology. And that is where we have reached in UPPC.
Wow, great work there.
Thank you.
And so Nancy, away from, you being a journalist, we see you in 2015, you came out as an MP candidate under the NRM card, MP candidate of Agago constituency. Tell us about this political journey as well.
I want to tell you, if there is one of the things I've enjoyed in life, was that campaign.
Wow.
Because I discovered that actually men are cowards. When I went, I actually said, I am a woman. And so I want to find out how it feels to wrestle with the guys.
With the men.
So I started my consultation, of course, quite early, 2014, as I told you before. Then I had giants like Professor Ogengala Tigo.
Okay.
We met, we chatted, and he looked at me with this smile. So one time he told me that I actually did a bit of investigation about you, but you can continue with the consultation. So we continued. Along the way, they split the constituencies. So he remained the other side, I remained this side, and then he's like, now you have to work hard. Little did I know that guys would just... So I had 8 guys coming to face off with me. And so I was the only female in that race. But I'm also happy because at least I made a mark. I was the first female ever to run for that seat in Agago district.
Wow.
Some people are like, wow, she's so daring.
I know, the courage.
Some people are like, okay, she's shy. But towards the end of the campaigns, they were like, wow, she's actually so good. I met someone who actually said that. They told me that you actually speak without even writing anything. How do you do it? So I said, I just speak. I speak from my heart. I'm not very good in writing speeches because even when I write, I'll not follow.
Yeah.
So the campaign was so beautiful, but the risk therein was also huge. I was actually shot.
You're shot?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, they actually thought I was in, but for some reason, this driver just dropped me and then he was like, let me drop the other people. Yet I was insisting that let's first drop the rest of the people and then we go home. So it's like, I think I slept off in the vehicle.
Whoa.
So as the vehicle was coming back, they shot it so badly. So I actually lost the vehicle, but I was safe and no one died. That's the beauty of it. So I also discovered during that time that people take politics so personal. It's like a do or die.
When you mentioned short, I thought you're meaning this, but that is really sad.
Yeah, so it is what people do. People do a lot of dubious, crazy things just for that leadership position. But again, if you look at it, it's not you who determines, by the way. It's actually the people who determine. But for me, I'm happy that in all the struggles, there are so many people who have been inspired by my move.
Yes.
And people also discovered that, oh, actually, this is not a male seat, because they would say it's a male seat. So they also discovered that even women can run for such positions. And then I was declared second.
Wow. Out of the 8?
Out of the 8, meaning we were 9.
Wow.
So it was a good thing for me, and I learned so much.
A lot.
I also got to know a lot about my own culture, how people do things. And I got to know that there is so much that needs to be done. I think what is normally shown on TVs or spoken on radios, I don't think it's the reality on ground. Because maybe because of my journalism background, but there is so much to be done in terms of education, in terms of agriculture, in terms of general development of the place. A lot is still lacking. And unless we unite and be honest in our leadership, we may always, we will still continue to lie to the public that we are doing this, and yet the impact may not be felt, because majority of the people are poor. Majority of the people are suffering. Even with this UPE education, and many cannot still afford that 20,000. But a normal person will ask and say, oh. And then I also discovered during that time that the alcohol consumption is abnormal.
It's way too much.
And you know what that can do to people. And they're unique brands. I don't know where they're manufactured from. I don't see them in Kampala.
Oh.
They're only there in the north. You find it littered everywhere. And it is actually sad. There's so much to do, but we need to unite. I think we should look beyond running for a seat, but doing something that is relevant for the community. Yeah. And it was beautiful generally. The insults.
I know.
I think I was doing more of civic education, but the insults helped me, because there are places where others would go insult me, and then they would say, you know what, the person you're insulting actually would learn to know her.
Were these insults because you're a woman or what?
Because I'm a woman, but also generally what I monitored for the times I've been in politics. I think it's about abusing, trying to bring out someone's weakness and bring you down, which I think it's a wrong approach. I think people should focus and say, for me, this is what I want to do for you people. This is the reason why I have chosen this path. But when you go on abusing a Madreen somewhere, it means you're not focused. You do not know what you're going to do for the people. So also, I think partly why people love me is because I never got entangled in the insults. There are those that I even helped after the campaigns. Aww. There are those that said, actually, I'm so embarrassed, I still want to come up to home to say sorry. So you don't have to hold it personally, but you just need to help people so that we change the face of politics and let people know that politics is not just about insulting people and doing nothing, but rather it's about leadership. And leadership is about giving people direction. So,
and Nancy, you're leaving out the most important thing. Politics is not all about money.
Hey, it's not all about money, yes, trust me.
Because also, you know, you're going for that
yes,
seat if you're not financially well.
But let me tell you, when someone just pays you to vote, they will not serve you. If you could only try to identify people who are servant leaders. You see, someone may be poor, my dear, but may be so good as a leader. But because they are financially constrained,
they are not able to.
They are not able to lead because they will not be given that opportunity. So there is this issue is, okay, we have now sat here, do something.
Where is the problem?
I think
because we are the voters. So where
I think it's the whole chain, like the society we are in now, the way we do things. Because if you stand and say, for me, because I've known some politicians up to date, they will never dish out money anyhow, or maybe during campaigns. They tell you no. I know, and they have led people.
Wow.
So it's about telling people the truth that, you know what, this is it. Of course, I used to have moments where people would come home, you're waking up in the morning, the whole compound is full, you're just a contestant, and then people are demanding for school fees, they're demanding for these, oh, I need to go for surgery. So you just need to sit those people down. Sometimes you have to do some counseling.
Yeah.
Let them understand that, you see, the fact that I have come to run does not mean I may have so much money that is going to sort out your individual. Because let me tell you, even when you go, and I would tell them that, you see, even when I get into leadership, I will have a working committee. And then we will have criteria on how to do A, B, C, D. If it is school fees, how will we handle?
Yeah.
If it is agriculture, how shall we handle? Now, the problem is you keep... And now when someone tells you they don't have money, this person is bad, I can't vote for the person.
Yeah.
So then you hear every year, every voter year, you keep changing. Every election year, you're changing because the people have not performed to your expectation. Because they bought you off.
Yeah.
So as much as we say these leaders are bad, I think the voters also need
to blame.
Exactly. Because they made a wrong decision. Do not vote people because they have money, but vote people that at least you can trust.
Wow.
At least they can do something on ground. People who actually understand what needs to be done in a society. Now, you hear there are these saving groups. Today, because I'm doing campaigns, you hear people running around putting in money. After that, why don't you turn those saving groups into developmental projects for your people? And say, this is how much I can do. You also come in. Also challenge people to be involved. Because let me tell you, the things that you are involved in, you have more attachment with them than those that someone has just fed you with and just said, this, it's like a handout. It doesn't. That's why they say you would rather give someone a hook and teach them to do what? To fish than for you to give them the fish.
True.
So it's a whole big problem of our mindset.
And this mindset, we need to work on our mindset.
Yeah, we need to work on the mindset for sure.
As voters. Yeah. And now, did we see you? Did you come back in 2021?
No. 2021 I did not.
You didn't? Why?
I did not because I had some pressing issues. I remember some people who are running actually reached out to me and they asked, are you running? I was like, I am not running. Are you really serious? Yes. Are you honest? I said, please, I am not running.
Were they scared?
So I asked the person,
you coming
but
back?
why are you over insisting? Then the person told me, no. I have collected my data. People told me, if Nancy is coming, do not waste time.
Wow.
So first discuss with her. And for sure, I was very honest to this person. I still talk to these people. I actually talk to the members of parliament. Even when I hear certain issues, I chat. I said, no, don't do this. Don't do it like this. Don't speak like this. It's bad. So why? Because for me, I look at the community by the way. So it's not about you. So if you're really leading people, there's a particular way you should do things. There's a particular way you should speak. So when I told this person, the person actually was puzzled. I was like, are you sure she's serious? Then someone said, if she has told you that, then she means it. That's what she does. She may be a bit simple, and but she means it. And for sure. But if it were not for that which happened at the time, I was going to run my posters, everything was designed. And so, 2026. I have to test the ground.
Wow, we are wait for that time to come. And we wish Nancy all the best if she finally announces her return. Yes. So Nancy, away from media, journalism and all politics, who is Nancy in your day-to-day life as we come to the end of the conversation?
Oh my God.
What are some of the things you love to do? How do you spend your free time?
As of now, my life rotates about work, church, family. I love fun. I love staying near people who are comic, people who make me happy. Like, I love a happy environment. I love to shop. But above all, I love to reach out to people. and I love to talk to people.
Yes.
Like, I would say mentorship. Like, every time I meet a person, like a young person or someone who is challenged, I just want to speak to that person. I say, no, this can be better. This can be A, B, C, D. This is what you, like, I just enjoy to do that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I don't want to say my life is closed. My life is not a closed life because I'm an open person. But yes, everything that I do, I think rotates around those.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the friends I have, they're either work-related, church-related, family. It's just, you know, so it's really my life.
Yeah.
I just love good leaders.
Good leaders. Wow. And I think I can say yes to when she says she loves talking to people, because before we started this conversation, she really she was really talking to us and we had a good time. Yes, I believe she really means what she says.
Yeah.
Yes, so Nancy, as we come to the end of the conversation, to a girl who wants to, to join journalism, of course, with your experience, please encourage this girl and advise her on what to do to be a better person.
Well, to every young girl who wants to study journalism, first of all, you need to know, why do you want to be a journalist? What value are you going to add? And if you understand that it's the kind of thing you want to do, because journalism is about you having the passion for it, the love for it. Your character should speak for it. Everything you do should speak for it. And don't be a journalist who is going to be entangled in either intrigue or in fighting other people's wars. Be objective as much as possible and be more focused and be firm, and know that even if you are a young girl, there is nothing that can stop you from climbing the ladders to the top in the journalism career. I've seen very many successful journalists who are female, not only in the New Vision, but of course other media houses and the world over. So it is about your focus, it's about what you want, and don't be timid. Yeah, just go for what you want, and the sky will be the limit. The beautiful thing is I'm also a trainer of trainees. I train after a journalist.
Okay.
Even to date,
Wow.
I still train. Yeah, because those are some of the courses, those are some of the things I used to do outside of office, and to date, I'm still called to train.
Wow.
So it is one of those things that really...
So people
women
call
have
you
to focus.
to offer this service?
Yes,
Or-
yes. They call me. Even Uganda Journalists Union calls me, and I remember we went for a training, and it was sponsored by the Norwegian Journalist Association. Yeah, it's a running program, and mostly women, and they really want to empower a girl child, and then ensure that in the newsroom the women are not discriminated based on the fact that they are women. If you're good enough, why wouldn't you also earn the same money like your colleague? If you are good enough, why wouldn't you also go covering politics or riots? But you realize normally, you say, you're a woman, you cannot do this coverage. You get it. So there are some of those things that I help to train journalists. So there is nothing like I am a woman, I'm what. You just need to be cautious and know what you know. Because I believe the guys also face the same challenges.
Yeah.
So as a girl, don't use your being female to try and win favor, no. Just be a person and go for what you want.
Wow.
Thank you.
All right. And your last remarks?
Well, I am so privileged to be hosted by Civic Space TV this afternoon, and I look forward to more interaction, and I thank God so much for giving me this opportunity. And Madreen, you've been quite a good moderator.
Wow.
And may you be blessed. You're interesting and easy to speak to.
Thank you.
Yes. So for those of you who are out there, please, any printing jobs, bring to Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation. We are ready to serve you. Very effective, very efficient in everything that we do, and so professional. Thank you.
All right. It has been Nancy here for you today, and I believe you have picked something from her story, from her work experience. Thank you so much for always tuning into Civic Space TV, Women Rise, Women at the Front Lines. I've been your host, Madreen. Thank you to the team on the camera, and see you next week. Bye.